So now, if I'm the student, I can go back to the portfolio, and it shows that I've submitted it. It shows it's not similar to anybody else's. It already made a similarity report, and I see, oh, 0% similar, not a problem. I've done everything properly. I can resubmit if I want up till the due date. Once the due date's hit, any submissions that are in. If you allow late submissions, you can submit after that, but it'll be counted as late, and you can't resubmit afterwards. I can view my work as well. This is pretty similar to the viewer that the teachers see. And you'll see, the students will see later on when it's been marked. It'll show up differently. They'll actually be able to see their mark. And I believe in their view, they'll see that they'll see some sort of indication that it's been marked. Oh, they would see their, somewhere in here they would see their grade.
It shows their score where you see where it says 0%.
Okay. I thought that was for the similar. Yeah. Oh, this is actually the originality percent. But they would see a grade.
Yeah, there's a grade that it comes right beside.
Yeah, they would see a grade, and actually they would see the grade on the post date. So if I set the post date to now, I'd be able to see the grade. They can also see if you haven't put up the grades yet. So you might want to consider that when you're figuring out when your post date should be. All right, now I'm going to switch back to that. I'm going to switch back to instructor mode. And now here's what you'd see as the teacher. Let me go to the dashboard, see if anybody's submitted anything. Dashboard. Okay. So if you're the teacher, you log in first, you'll take a look at, or you'll be able to see the dashboard. And the dashboard will give you an indication of what's going on right now. And I can already see that, let's see, Chris and Ann and Maggie have submitted their work. Very good. And Todd and John are dirty, dirty cheaters.
I'm a cheater too, but I'm this one thing,
Well, let me refresh it. I think it doesn't necessarily show everybody who's a cheater. It just gives you an indication that you should probably look at these first. And I think once you've graded them, it will then show you other people who have cheated them. Yeah. All right. So I would. Yeah, and also when you look at the individual assignments.
Well, how long can it be away processing?
Sorry?
How long can it be away processing?
Depends on how long the document is, but I've never, with my lab reports, I've never seen it go much longer than 5 minutes. It probably won't be that long. Let's put it this way. If they submit it in class, if you just get the submission, it might be a little while, but it usually isn't very long. All right, so I'm going to go into all classes. You can also link to it from there. I'm going to go into the Turnitin PD class, because I want to do some markings. And I got 15 out of 21. Oh, some people not submitting. Oh, let me go back. So here I get a view of all the basic details: start, due date, post date, the status, 15 out of 21 submitted, and I get some actions here. I can view, and there are more actions as well, like edit my settings. I can submit a paper here for a student. Let's say a student is like comes to you and says, my internet's not working at home. I can't submit anything from here. It keeps messing up. Can I just give you my file and have you submit it? You can do that. Ideally, you wouldn't want to do that, but if the need arises, you have that option. Which, by the way, I find is much better than, for example, in Moodle, because I've noticed in Moodle you can't submit anything for a student. It's not possible. Sorry? Yeah, there's a plugin that connects Moodle to Turnitin. It's made by Turnitin, I believe. Yeah. The school needs to buy it from Turnitin. And it, what did it have a cost of? $1 a student? Yeah. So John, can you speak to that? Or like what's going to happen with that?
Basically, we're just looking into it now. Hopefully we'll buy it pretty cheap, $1 a student. And once it's on there, Moodle,
Well, you wouldn't see the class because, like, I'm the teacher for the class. Yeah, you would see the class as a student, but I see the class as a teacher. Right? So when you make a class when you make a class as a teacher, then you would see the class as I'm seeing it shown here.
Let's see, similarity report goes back to
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
we'll have to see.
Have to try it.
I'm not sure how that works. You might be able to see the. I'm actually going to show you something a little later where you will be able to see the original. If I remember correctly, you'll be able to see the originality report in Turnitin. Don't know about Moodle. You definitely everything about the way Turnitin works will work basically the same when it's through Moodle, including one really useful bit of useful thing they've made recently that I'll show you later. Okay, so we've got a number of papers here, and you can also see who hasn't submitted down here at the bottom. Jason, where's your work?
There, I just did it.
All right, let me see here now. All right, okay. We still got 5 slackers down here. Doug, really? I expected better from you. I don't know why, but I did. All right, so I'm gonna check Maggie's first because I think there's some interesting stuff here with sort of like there's a little bit of plagiarism, but there's not, and we're gonna see how that works. All right, so here we go. We've got the when you start it up, it usually starts in grade mark mode. I should go back and show you what you'd click. So if I click the name of it, then it gives me the submission for grading. I can also click the pencil here to grade as well. If I click the originality report, it starts you in the originality report, which is, I think, fairly useful. If you click the name over here, it just shows you about that student. So what I usually just do is click the name of the submission. Oh, I should show you one more thing. Over here, this paper icon under File, that lets you actually download the file, the actual original file. So if you want to keep all the student submissions somewhere, you can do that. If I remember correctly, Turnitin does keep all those submissions. They really want to because the more they have, the more plagiarism they can catch. So it's in their benefit to keep all the work that you ever put into Turnitin, which is a pretty useful thing for getting things back. But if you wanted to share this with another teacher, you could download the files that way. All right, so I'm going to go to use of spiders in the classroom. So here's what the viewer looks like when you're. Here's what the viewer looks like. It has to load up a bit. Here's what the viewer looks like if you're when you're grading. And we've got a number of options up here. Up here in this top left-hand corner, we have the sections for originality report, grade mark, and peer mark. I'll try making a peer mark assignment later. We've got the title up here. Over here is where we see the grade that you give it and the similarity percentage. You can just type in a grade by clicking in here if you want to. It's plagiarized. I'm going to give it a 0. I'll do that actually a little bit better later. Let's see. Let's try originality report first. So we have over here is the match overview. It shows you where the sources are coming from. It shows you where the sources are coming from. This shows you only the big sources, right? When you click on this, normally it only shows you the big sources. So I've only got a 55% from Wikipedia. But over here, I can also show all of the sources. Usually, I think this is just the match overview. This is every single source it's taken from. So it shows you all the different, all the similarities are. The one thing I've noticed here, when you have it in the match overview, it shows that it comes from Wikipedia. Over here, it shows you that it actually comes from 2 sources, and I believe it's really that you've got the same source each time, like that there's the same text from those 2 sources.
It's the sources from the Wikipedia.
Okay, so it's showing you not only that that it was taken from Wikipedia, but that Wikipedia took some of that from this other source.
And if I had put that like in a word cited,
Mm-hmm.
it would have still been highlighted just green.
Right. Yeah.
It would have still said like.
Yeah. So these are all showing up as red because they haven't been cited, like I said. Yeah. So you can see how much has been plagiarized. You can also see in here if something has been plagiarized from something else that's in their database or another student's submission, if one student copied another student, that will also show up as well. Most of the time, with my lab reports, I have seen cases where things that basically that sort of look the same don't show up as matches or as copying. This is sort of on purpose because when it comes to science, a lot of the numbers and a lot of the wording sort of ends up being the same. So it's really important to look through here and see in what way is it plagiarized? How much of a match is this? This looks like a pretty big match, so that's pretty bad. It's a pretty big copy. Let's switch over here to grade mark. This is where I have most experience with. So if I'm here in grade mark, what I'm going to do first is set up, I'll show you the comments first. So over in this side we have a section for comments. What I can do is just make a comment somewhere on the paper. What I do is I double click somewhere on the paper, and then I give a little window for typing in my comments. So I can say, this is copied and not very good. Just something simple like that. Yeah. And I can also select some text and then double click. And what that does is it highlights it. And there's a little, it's not, oh yeah, it's kind of showing up. You can see there's a little line that connects it to the comment. So I can type in a comment, like, seriously? And that comment will show up there. Now what the student will do is they'll just mouse over this and they'll be able to see the comment. But what I could also do if I want to is add a quick, what they call a quick mark. Quick marks are sets of comments that you can add quickly, and if you want to, you can add more detail about that comment. So let's see, students. So I'd go up here. In this right-hand bar is where all of that is where you get all of that, and I could change the quick mark set. I'm just going to use the commonly used set. It starts you off. Turnitin starts you off with some sample comment banks that they like to use, and if I haven't really looked into this, but I believe if you look around on the Turnitin site, like their main site, you can find comment banks that are already made, and rubrics as well that are already made. So I can give this a comment, like let's say awk for awkward, and that awkward just appears. So I can show how that's, so this awk, I just kept that like, no, awkwards. And that way the students can see very quickly what this comment actually means. They can mouse over it and they'll see the sort of default description for it. The expression or construction is cumbersome or difficult to read. So you can set up what these comments basically mean.
Ron, did you make those ones or those ones?
Those are the default ones. I'll show you the ones I've made. Now I've made them for problems in lab work. So I've got a couple for, I set them up like this. I want them to be more descriptive. They take up more space, but I think they work a little better. So the students can quickly see what the problems are. Like calculations, you've shown too many. One of the things in lab work is that we only want to see you you have to multiply two values. We only want to see you do that once, so we know that you've done it. I've had students who will show you, here's how I multiplied every single value. I don't want to read that. Stop doing it. So that's why I put that in there. Or your data table, there's some things that are in the wrong tables, or the tables have the wrong headers, they have the wrong units. These sort of things are really important for lab work in science, because a lot of the lab work marks are very detail-oriented things. So I make a lot of comments for the really specific details that I find show up all the time.
Ryan, how much time do you think this saves you? I'm just
I'd say quite a, I haven't really thought of it. I'd say it's fairly substantial. If you find yourself having to make the same comment over and over and over again, it's better to write it once and then just go click or drag it in and then have to do that. I find it works a lot more smoothly. Yeah. For if any of you with English, if you're looking at grammar things, the commonly used ones include a lot of the typical grammar comments you're going to make, like awkward, or you need better punctuation here, or things like that. So that's already set up for you. So you're doing a lot better than I was, where I had to set up these comment banks.